think there was a huge shift in momentum at.
You know what is absolutely wild? A player ranked outside the top 30 in the WTA is packing stadiums at Indian Wells while Grand Slam champions are playing to half-empty courts. We are talking about ticket prices that would make you think Roger Federer just walked onto the court, except it is not Federer, it is Alex Eala, a 20-year-old from the Philippines who is rewriting the rules about what star power looks like in professional tennis. Stick around because we're about to break down how a player most casual fans have never heard of is creating a phenomenon that has tournament organizers scrambling and the WTA completely caught off guard. Quick favor, if you are loving this content, hit that subscribe button. Over 92% of viewers haven't subscribed yet. It costs nothing, but means everything to us. Already clicked it? Awesome! Thanks so much. Now back to the main event. Picture this. Indian Wells, one of the most prestigious tournaments outside the Grand Slams, the desert sun beating down on the pristine courts, and security guards are turning people away at Stadium 2 because it is completely sold out. Who is playing? Not Coco Gauff, not Ariana Sabalenka, not even Iga Swiatek. It is Alex Eala, ranked number 167 in the world, taking on a qualifier in the first round. Meanwhile, over on Stadium 1, a top 10 player is serving to a crowd that looks like a Wednesday afternoon practice session. The contrast is not just noticeable, it's shocking. Fans are paying $200 for nosebleed seats, $500 for courtside, prices that normally get reserved for Championship Sunday, and they are doing it gladly. Some are traveling from Manila, others from Dubai, Canada, and across the United States, all to watch one player. This is not just tennis fandom, this is a movement. But here's where it gets really interesting. The WTA, the organization that is supposed to be at the forefront of growing women's tennis, seems completely blindsided by what is happening. They have spent years trying to manufacture star power through marketing campaigns and social media pushes, throwing millions at traditional pathways to fame. Meanwhile, Alex Eala just walked onto the court with an entire nation behind her, and nobody in the official tennis world saw it coming. It's like watching the music industry sleep on viral artists while they're selling out arenas independently. The infrastructure is there, the crowds are there, the money is definitely there, but the suits are still checking their spreadsheets trying to figure out if this is real. Spoiler alert, it is very real, and it is not going anywhere. Let us talk numbers for a second, because this is where things get truly mind-blowing. The Philippines has a population of over 110 million people, and the Filipino diaspora, the people who have spread across the globe, adds another 10 million on top of that. That's not just a fan base, that's an entire market that tennis has barely touched. Compare that to other breakthrough athletes who changed their sports forever. When Naomi Osaka burst onto the scene representing Japan, suddenly Japanese sponsors were throwing money at tennis tournaments, Japanese fans were buying tickets in record numbers, and the sport saw massive growth in a market it had been trying to crack for decades. When Yao Ming entered the NBA, Chinese viewership exploded overnight, turning basketball into one of the most watched sports in the country. Alex Eala is doing the same thing for the Philippines and Southeast Asia, except she is doing it without the official backing, without the marketing machine. Just raw, organic, passionate support from people who see themselves in her story. And let's be crystal clear about something. This is not charity. These fans are not showing up because they feel obligated. They're showing up because Alex Eala is good. She won the US Open Junior title in 2022, becoming the first Filipino to ever win a Grand Slam singles title at any level. She's been grinding on the ITF and WTA circuits, taking down higher-ranked opponents, scrapping through three-set battles that would break most players mentally. Her game is not flashy in the way that gets you on SportsCenter highlight reels. It's gritty, it's smart, and it's relentless. She plays every point like it is match point, and that kind of intensity resonates with people who know what it means to fight for everything you have. Filipino fans are not just supporting a player, they are supporting someone who represents their journey, their struggles, their refusal to be overlooked. But wait, there's more. Because while Alex is out here building an empire, one sold-out match at a time, the traditional tennis establishment is doing what it does best, moving at the speed of molasses. The WTA has been slow to feature her in promotional materials, slow to give her prime-time slots, slow to recognize that this is not a flash in the pan. Tournament organizers are starting to catch on, scheduling her matches in bigger stadiums because they have learned the hard way that underestimating her draw is a recipe for logistical disasters. Fans were literally climbing over each other trying to get into her matches during qualifiers. Qualifiers, the rounds that usually get played on outer courts with maybe 50 people watching. Security had to step in. Ushers were overwhelmed. It looked like a concert, not a tennis match. Here's the kicker. This phenomenon is not just happening at Indian Wells, it's happening everywhere Alex plays. When she competed in tournaments across Asia, the crowds were insane. When she played in Europe, Filipino communities showed up in force, waving flags, chanting her name, turning tennis matches into cultural events. Social media is exploding with videos of her points, her celebrations, her post-match interviews. Fan groups are organizing watch parties across multiple time zones, streaming matches on projectors in community centers, restaurants, living rooms. This is grassroots support on a scale that tennis has never seen for a player outside the top 10, and frankly, the sport doesn't know what to do with it. Here's the kicker. This phenomenon is not just happening at Indian Wells, it's happening everywhere Alex plays. When she competed in tournaments across Asia, the crowds were insane. When she played in Europe, Filipino communities showed up in force, waving flags, chanting her name, turning tennis matches into cultural events. Social media is exploding with videos of her points, her celebrations, her post-match interviews. Fan groups are organizing watch parties across multiple time zones, streaming matches on projectors in community centers, restaurants, living rooms. This is grassroots support on a scale that tennis has never seen for a player outside the top 10, and frankly, the sport doesn't know what to do with it.
But let us talk about what this means for the future, because this is bigger than one player. Alex Eala is opening doors for an entire region that has been ignored by the tennis establishment. Southeast Asia has millions of potential fans, millions of kids who could pick up a racket if they see someone who looks like them succeeding at the highest level. Right now, tennis is dominated by players from Europe, North America, and Australia. The sport talks a big game about being global, but the reality is that entire continents are underrepresented. Alex is changing that narrative just by existing, just by showing up and competing. And if the WTA were smart, they would be building entire marketing campaigns around this, partnering with sponsors in the Philippines, scheduling more tournaments in Southeast Asia, investing in development programs that could produce the next generation of Filipino stars. Instead, what are they doing? Mostly watching from the sidelines while independent fan communities do the heavy lifting. It is like watching a company ignore a viral product while customers are lining up around the block. And trust me, other sports leagues are watching. The NBA learned this lesson with international stars. The Premier League learned it with global football talent. Tennis is late to the party, and if they do not move fast, they are going to miss the biggest market expansion opportunity in decades. Picture this, a family in Manila waking up at 3 in the morning to watch Alex Eala play a first-round match in California. They are not just watching, they are live tweeting, they are calling relatives, they are screaming at the TV like it is the championship final. That is not casual fandom, that is emotional investment. That is the kind of loyalty that sponsors dream about, the kind that turns viewers into lifelong fans who buy merchandise, stream matches, attend tournaments when they come to town. And Alex has that times a million. Her social media engagement rates are through the roof. Her matches get shared, clipped, and reposted across platforms. She trends on Twitter every time she steps on court. This is marketing gold, and yet the official tennis world is still treating her like a curiosity instead of a cornerstone. Meanwhile, ticket scalpers are having a field day. Seats that were listed at $150 are being resold for $400, and people are paying it. Indian Wells organizers had to adjust their staffing because they underestimated the crowd she would draw. Concession stands ran out of supplies. Parking was a nightmare. These are good problems to have, the kind of problems that every tournament director wishes they had. But it only happens when you have a star who can move the needle. And right now, Eala is moving the needle in ways that players ranked 50 spots higher cannot. Let's also talk about the cultural significance here, because this goes beyond sports. For Filipino communities around the world, Alex represents something powerful. She is proof that you do not need to come from a tennis factory in Florida or a training academy in Europe to compete at the highest level. She trained in Spain, yes, but she never forgot where she came from. She wears her heritage proudly, speaks about representing the Philippines in every interview, and connects with her fans in a way that feels genuine. That resonates. In a sport that has often felt exclusive, elitist, and out of reach for people from non-traditional tennis countries, Alex is a reminder that talent and heart can come from anywhere. And here's the thing, this is just the beginning. Alex is 20 years old. She is still developing her game, still climbing the rankings, still learning how to handle the pressure that comes with being a national icon. Imagine what happens when she breaks into the top 50. Imagine what happens when she makes a deep run at a Grand Slam. The crowds will be bigger, the ticket prices will be higher, and the global attention will be impossible to ignore. The WTA will have no choice but to feature her prominently, to build storylines around her, to recognize that she is not just another player, she is a phenomenon. So where does this leave us? With a player who is rewriting the rules of tennis stardom, proving that rankings are not the only measure of impact, and showing the world that passion and community can create something the marketing departments never saw coming. Eala is not waiting for permission to be a star. She is not waiting for the WTA to hand her a spotlight. She is building her legacy one match at a time, one sold-out stadium at a time, one viral moment at a time. And the fans, the beautiful, passionate, loyal fans, are right there with her every step of the way. This is not just a tennis story. This is a cultural movement, and it is happening whether the establishment is ready for it or not. Stay tuned, folks, because if you think the frenzy at Indian Wells was wild, just wait until you see what happens next.